Anyone who saw it will never forget it. The North Hollywood shootout. Two heavily armed men robbed a bank and then tried to blast their way to freedom. Now, for many of the officers who were there that day in 1997, the shootout defines them. For others, it was just too much to live with.
Well, tonight, for the first time since he cheated death that day, a former LAPD officer is describing the nightmare he played a key role in. Our Serene Branson has his story.
Requesting assistance. We have a possible 211 in progress at the Bank of America. Bank of America. Located north of Kittredge. We have shots fired.
One of the things that got really old was those dreams. Every night basically, I'd have dreams about being there and certain parts of it and relive those parts.
15 years after the infamous North Hollywood shootout, the memories are still haunting.
When the rifle went off, it wasn't your typical, rat-a-tat-tat type sound. It sounded like thunder. In a storm, when the storm's right on top of you, it was a huge explosion. I'm John Caparelli. I was an LAPD officer at the 1997 North Hollywood shootout.
Two bank robbers, Larry Phillips Jr. and Emil Matasaranu, were armed with assault rifles and body armor. They fired more than 1,100 rounds at LAPD officers during one of the longest and bloodiest shootouts in history. Now retired officer John Caparelli was one of the first on scene at the Bank of America. All he knew when they got there was a robbery in progress.
Both the suspects came out of the front of the bank and started firing at...
Were you watching that happen?
No, we were catty corner on the side that we couldn't really see what was going on, but you could sure hear it. It was, the sound of the automatic weapons was like it was 10 feet in front of you.
Armed with only 9mm, they moved positions to backyards behind a cinder block wall behind the bank parking lot, trying to predict where the robbers would move.
When I looked up over the wall, I looked up to see Larry Phillips with a rifle pointed right at me.
So he fired?
He fired.
And missed?
Somewhat. The rounds hit the wall and went right through the wall like it was butter, basically, and luckily missed me and the officer that was right next to me, but the cinder block became projectiles in themselves, and that cinder block stuck in my chest, my face. We were right on the other side of the wall. It's a miracle that the rounds themselves didn't hit us, let alone all the cinder block that we took.
Back at the scene for the first time in several years, Caparelli says the holes have been patched, but this is where they regrouped and then hopped in a detective's car when he spotted Phillips under a tractor trailer.
I jumped out of the back of the car because I thought to myself, now I have a chance. I have a chance to stop this guy. I ran to the corner and took aim. I fired 6 rounds, and it had absolutely no effect except to get his attention.
Phillips spun around and fired. Caparelli ran for cover and cleared a fire hydrant.
And when I turned, that was right there. And I ended up jumping over that.
But they'd still make another run at him.
And I see Phillips again. Now I'm standing in the open, and Phillips is still under that. He's actually trying to unjam his rifle. His rifle had jammed. Lucky for us, because if it hadn't have jammed, all 6 or 7 of us wouldn't even be here today.
An officer hit the gun out of Phillips' hand before he took his own life. Matasaranu was killed by police fire. The standoff ended without any officer or civilian deaths. For his actions, Caparelli was awarded the LAPD's highest honor, the Medal of Valor, and was given the National Top Cops Award. And he decided to put the play-by-play into his new book, Uniform Decisions.
I have yet to this point come across anybody who's attempted to put in writing what it was like to be there, what it sounded like, what it felt like. So that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to put a picture out there of what it was like.
The incident changed policing, making rifles accessible to street cops and providing mandatory counseling for officers involved in a shooting, something Caparelli applauds. He had trouble sleeping, coping, and suffered a stress-related stroke 5 years after the shooting, putting him out of work for a year and back on a desk job.
It was a big wake-up call. I changed my attitude. I changed my health routine and so forth. Actually, my job actually changed. I was never able to go back to work the field anymore.
He also watched 3 of his colleagues commit suicide in the years following the shootout. His book aims to share the unforgettable experience and give intimate insight into how the events we see unfold on live TV live on in the hearts and minds of those involved.
The baggage that you took from that event added to the big picture, but they're not here anymore. They took their own lives. So people need to know that when officers are involved in something like that, it just doesn't end at End of Watch.
That's right. Officer Caporelli's book, Uniform Decisions, is on sale now.
And a portion of the proceeds will go to the Los Angeles Police Historical Society and LAPD Wives Association. And you want to talk about reality television. Every station was all over that thing. And remember the police saying back then how they were out-armed, outgunned, that these 2 shooters had better guns, more ammo, vests. I mean, it was just incredible.
And we've seen some pretty bad things happen. That day was pretty shocking. And to this day, just watching all that video again, it just chills up my spine as a journalist.